we are making a mug rug today. Mug rug, something you can sit your coffee cup on and a cookie next to it, or like I do, I have a cup of water and a cup of coffee most of the time. Someone requested I make them this one. They saw the one that I made for my dad for his birthday. It's got a little truck on it and a star pattern on the back. Here I'm setting it up basically like you would if you were going to make a teeny tiny quilt. Essentially that's what I'm doing. Got one side of the fabric, and then the middle piece is actually a large piece of thick felt, and then another piece of fabric on top of that with the backs facing the felt, so that when you sew them it's all right side out. Once you get all your fabric smoothed out on the felt piece, you want to pin it so that when you're doing your quilting lines, the fabric doesn't wiggle so much. I do have basting spray, but when I was doing this, I completely forgot that I had it. I could have just like glued the fabrics together and it would have moved even less. Just make sure to remove your pins as you go so you don't run them over. You really don't want to run them over with your needle. You could break the pin, you could break the needle. It's just dangerous to break the needles because I broke a needle one time and I still to this day don't know where the tip of the needle ended up. Sorry to the owners of the Samsung dryers and washers. That's not your washer going off. That was mine. That tune plays so long. I taped off a straight line so that I could follow that when doing the quilting. I had originally tried to do like a chalk line, but it just didn't show up well. But some washi tape, if you have it, or even a piece of scotch tape to get your first line in would work. Or masking tape if you have it, like painter's tape, that would work also. And then I just use that first line and follow it with the presser foot. If I wanted to space the lines out even more, I would measure it out and put another piece of tape down. But since I was doing pretty close lines, because it's a small project, I just put it at the edge of the presser foot and followed that to keep the line straight. I'm using a walking foot to do this. It's not 100% necessary to have a walking foot to do this. If you don't, your project is usually crooked when you're done and you have to trim it up a lot to straighten it out. The walking foot just keeps everything moving at the same pace through the machine. And there it is, all the quilting is done on both sides, of course on both sides. And now I'm trying to figure out where to cut it, and was thinking about that. I sped it up a lot. For some reason my cutter wouldn't go through that. I had to use scissors. Yeah, I had to speed this up a lot because I sat and thought about it for quite a while, exactly where I wanted to cut it, because he definitely wanted the truck in it. And it needed to be big enough to be a mug rug. And those pieces I cut off, I will save. Some of them are big enough to do something else with, even if it's like super small. I'll look at it and see. There was like a cow on there somewhere. I might be able to make some little Christmas tree ornament out of a piece of cow. I'll figure something out to do with them instead of just throwing them away. Or they'll go into like a pillow with stuffing. And now I'm ironing out the binding. I had a leftover piece of red from another project, so it's got a little crease in a weird place, so I'm having to repress it. And then I think this was a piece of 2-inch wide fabric, and I just folded it in half and pressed it, and then unfolded it and then pressed half to the inside half. I'm not great at making binding yet, but practice, right? You don't get good at it until you do it a bunch. You definitely want to make sure that you leave enough hanging over at the beginning so that when you get back around there, you have room to figure out how you're going to connect them together. The edge along the edge of the mug rug is the cut edge, not the folded edge. And that's what I'm about to sew along, is the cut edge. And as long as you use 1/4 inch seam, when you get to the corner, the way I do it is I kind of do a quarter, like a little partial turn, you'll see, and run it off the corner, and then fold the fabric, and then start over on the edge. That way I'm not like trying to keep the fabric on the machine. I've tried to do it that way. I've watched a bunch of different videos to figure out how to do the binding, and so far the one I'm about to do has been the easiest for me, but I'm sure there's other ways that are easy for other people. And I use that little purple thing tool to see if I'm at a 1/4 inch. The end of it has a little square that's a 1/4 inch. Basically turning it at a 45-degree angle and then running it off the corner, the very tippy corner of the fabric, so that when you fold it over, it all folds properly, and when you flip it around to the other side, you have good lines on your binding. See here, I'm folding it basically at another 45-degree angle away, and then flipping it over, and then I'm going to clip it so that it stays put. And then you start sewing at the corner, like at the very, well, not the corner itself, a 1/4 of an inch up from the corner. And then when you unfold it all around later, it's sewn all the way in that spot, so you don't have to worry about there being a gap there. This is what I mean by the corners, all the way to the very corner of the mug rug fabric. Hopefully this is a better angle. I've gone around all the sides and we're back at the beginning. I'm just kind of figuring out how much I can cut off of the fabric so that I have enough there to have an edge that's not raw. Basically what I do is I line it out, seeing how much I need to trim off, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. And then on one of the sides of fabric, I'm going to fold it so that there's no raw edges when the seams are all finished. And then I'm going to tuck in the one that's got the raw edge underneath the one that I just created a little hem without sewing. And then clip it all together and run it through the sewing machine to finish that row. You want to make sure everywhere when you start and stop doing this stuff, you backstitch. That way your threads don't pull out. And now I'm going to start turning it over so that the binding covers up the raw edge of the mug rug and goes onto the other side of it. And since the way I pressed it when I did it, the folded bit to the middle, on the back when I've turned it around, it's going to have a nice folded edge instead of a raw edge of fabric, and I won't have to worry about trying to fold it while I'm doing this. It's already folded for me. You pretty much just have to take your time and do this. It's the most fiddly bit of the process, is getting those corners and everything folded over neatly so that when you sew it, it doesn't look like a jumbled up mess. So you want your corners to be nice and square, mitered corner. And once you've got it all clipped up, you go around the edge, on the inside edge, to secure it. And just go to the corner and don't lift your needle up and just turn. Don't put these upside down. It's a pain. And there it is, all done. Ready for a cup of coffee or tea. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.